Okay, welcome. We are live once again this week, Cole Reality Radio here on the Oracle Broadcasting Network. And going to be talking more about energy medicine today. It is Sunday, February 17th. You just got done listening to Kurt, Room 101. And now it is time for the Cole Reality Report today. I'm going to be talking with nenah Sylver. She's a PhD. She's the author of the Rife Therapy Handbook and the Holistic Handbook of Sauna Therapies. Jordan DeYoung will also be joining us today. It'll be sort of a small type of roundtable. We're going to be talking about Rife. We're going to be talking about energy medicine, frequencies that heal, and very excited about this topic. And I look forward to, more and more information that's going to come out on this program about about energy medicine, because it is a technology that has been suppressed for some time now, maybe since the very beginning, but it hasn't been completely stifled. It's out there, and it is helping people. There's no doubt that it is helping people. In the future, I'm going to have Jordan on again. We're going to have some people that he has worked with directly that have benefited from the Zyto energy medicine, finding out what's going on inside the human body. As I said before, within the last 2 or 3 weeks, I had a Zyto session. A virtual clinic was done between me and Jordan, and any number of different things correlated with what my chiropractor, kinesiologist told me about things that were going on inside, this body here. And so when I did the session, the clinic with Jordan, I found a lot of these things to be absolutely correct. My neck, he said C5, C7, T5. And those are areas of my neck that go out and my back that go out, and they call it subluxation. But anytime there's a subluxation in there, nerves don't work the right way, and there's a certain amount of impedance, which is resistance. There's either energy that flows or there's energy that is impeded, which lowers the resistance, enhances the flow of energy flowing through the body, and it's quite amazing, and it works. And tequila is a good friend of mine. I found out that is something that I can drink. Of course, it doesn't have any wheat in it, and it's good. It's good stuff. So, the Centurions say that they are able to live to 100 and further because they take one good drink a day, and that's because the alcohol goes in there, opens up the channels of absorption for nutrition, and if you're eating the right things and doing the right things, you can live to be 100 and not decrepit either. Cole Reality Radio, oraclebroadcasting.com. All right, welcome back. Again, this is Cole Reality Radio. I am Shaliak. I'm going to be the host here for the next 2 hours, and we're going to be talking about energy medicine. I'm going to bring my two guests in the next segment, about 10 minutes from now. And I just wanted to kind of go over a couple things, just to give any new listeners out there an idea of what this program is about and what I am about. I recently stumbled into this area of health. I've always been interested in health-related topics. I've always been interested in supplementation, and I always inherently knew, even while I was eating McDonald's and all this other garbage, poison food, that there was something wrong with it, that there's something horrifically wrong with this system. Okay. Had both my parents died within a week of each other from cancer. One a brain tumor, and the other one from esophageal cancer. Okay, now my mother was drinking a diet soda because her quack idiot physician told her for a number of years that her triglycerides were too high. Your triglycerides are too high, right? So he said this over and over again. And of course, these numbers that we see out there, the numbers that the doctors get from these clinics or whatever that do the full blood panels come back, and all these numbers. I mean, if you've got cholesterol is 200 or something, they'll probably say that your cholesterol is too high, or 250, it's too high, so that they can get you on cholesterol lowering meds and destroy your brain. Okay. They'll tell you that your blood sugar is this, your blood sugar is that. Meanwhile, at the same time, we know that the system is corrupt. All you have to do is be a scientist, and I'm not a scientist, but I've listened to enough of them to know that if you put something man-made, not a real fat, into the body, it will wreak havoc inside your body. It will create metabolic syndrome, blood sugar abnormalities, and then from that point on, any number of different things can happen. And your doctor is not your friend. Okay, he's not your friend. He's just sometimes these people, they get involved in medicine because they want to do good. They want to make money. I mean, ultimately, it's always about making your life good. And there's nothing wrong with that. Doing good things with your life, becoming a lawyer if that's what you choose to do, or a doctor. But a lot of these people don't realize that the lawyers don't realize that our system is corrupt. Thus, Monsanto gets away with basic murder. All right. You've got doctors that think that they're helping people by prescribing drugs for them, but they're not, because the pharmaceutical companies are just, they're just creating drugs that kill. I'm sure there's something out there, but see, we listen to the TV, pharmaceutical companies, the television, the advertisers, they're all in bed together. And if there was bad people out there that wanted to hurt you, they could do it through this system. They could propagandize you to the greatest extents ever known. And that's what's happening. That's what's going on. This system is killing you. You either wake up and live, or you stay asleep and you wither away. You wake up and live, or you just disintegrate. And that's what this system wants. They want to take your money, they want to raise your taxes, they want to take everything from you, and they want you to just die. Okay? These politicians are not your friend. Okay? The Feinsteins and the Obamas and the Chuck Schumers and the Newt Gingriches, they don't care about you. They don't care about you. And you got to start taking control of your own life, what you eat, and start doing something that's going to raise awareness about the system. Let's, we got to, raise awareness about this, raise awareness about this, feline AIDS, this thing, that thing, whatever. Everybody's trying to raise awareness about things that have some importance, but the thing that has the most importance is life and death and the demise of this empire, this United States of America, which is slowly becoming the United States of Nightmerica, because the people are willfully ignorant. They sit back and they just take it like a bunch of prostitutes. They just sit back and they take it and they take it and take it, while the pimps just backhand them left and right. And the pimps are Obama and Bush and Clinton and everyone in their cabinet, all the dual citizens between here and Israel that control and steer our policies. And this stuff simply has to end. It has to stop. So it's either going to be the end of America, or it's going to be the end of this tyrannical rule over us. And one way that we're going to start turning people's health around, because what people can't fight if they're brain dead from chemically and mentally castrated by the chemicals and the poisons in the food and the particulates in the air from the geoengineering. How are people going to fight back when they're absolute biological androids? You just got to make up your mind and say no more. You just have to say no more. Just like you would say if somebody that you knew was, attacking you or whatever. There comes a point where you say no more. No more. So on the other side of this break, Nenah Sylver, PhD, author, Jordan DeYoung, energy medicine man, the energy medicine man, Jordan DeYoung. So I'm so happy to have them on the program today, and we're going to get into some good information. Cole Reality Radio, Oracle. Come back, Oracle Broadcasting here, Cole Reality Radio. And my guest today, Nenah Sylver, PhD. She's a writer, educator, artist, and musician. I am also a musician, so we'll have more to talk. I'm sure I'll have more to talk with Nenah on other topics as well. Nenah has devoted her life to the exploration of healing on mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual levels. Her early training in music led to subsequent studies in spirituality and physics, all complementary paths to her long life passion, the science of frequency. For 15 years, Nenah had a private practice in body-mind psychotherapy based on groundbreaking principles of physician and natural scientist Wilhelm Reich. In 1996, she received her PhD from the Union Institute in Transformational Psychology, a multidisciplinary program of holistic health, psychology, and gender studies. Then, in what began as a quest for help with her own health issues, Nenah started researching Royal Rife and his inventions along with other electromedicine therapies. Her extensive knowledge of effective and safe holistic protocols eventually coalesced into the Rife Handbook. As Dr. Sylver's knowledge base grew, the 448-page paperback edition of the Rife Handbook grew into a hardcover volume containing 768 pages, the latest edition of which was published in 2011, called the Rife Handbook of Frequency Therapy and Holistic Health. Nenah, welcome.
Thank you.
That is quite a list of accomplishments. And we also have Jordan DeYoung with us to just kind of move through a couple things. So, as a small little round table here, I've been doing some work with Jordan. That's how I got connected to Nenah. Nenah, did I leave anything out with respect to your bio? Is there anything critical in there that the that the listening audience needs to know about?
Well, I'll talk about the workshops later that I will be giving. Actually, the best thing for people to do is to go to my website, where they'll be able to have updates as to where I will be offering workshops. And that website is www.rifehandbook.com. And that's RIF as in Frank, E, rhymes with life, rifehandbook.com.
Terrific. Okay, so it says in your bio, and this is almost always the case with people in general, is when their own health comes into focus, something's going wrong, you're not feeling well, some kind of health challenge. If you would like to share that with us, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. Sometimes people don't want to reveal like whatever health issues they had, but how did you? Was it the health issue that got you moving in the direction of Rife and alternative therapies?
Pretty much. People are often surprised to hear that at one point I was diabetic and am no longer. It took me about 6 years to correct. Now, the diabetes wasn't actually what led me to Rife therapy, but it did lead me to holistic health. I was in my 20s at the time, and I was really quite astounded at the lack of any kind of program or protocol for people with diabetes that made any sense to me. When my doctor gave me a sheet, for example, of allowed foods, and I found that one of them was coffee, which through a series of biochemicals actually raises blood sugar, I asked him why he did that, and he said, oh, well, people aren't going to give up their coffee, so we'll just give them more insulin. And I was actually quite appalled, because I thought that at the very least, if one really wanted to get well, they could exercise a little bit more discipline and actually start eating foods that were good for them. So at that time, there wasn't nearly the information out there that there is today about all kinds of topics on health. So, and there was really no internet. So I just went to the health food store and I did a lot of reading, and I happened to draw to me some really excellent holistic physicians, people who were doing quite groundbreaking research and were involved in some very interesting protocols at the time. So I kind of cobbled together for myself a program to help myself, and it took a while, but after 6 years I was healed. During that time, I also would go to health expos. I was living in New York City, and it was at that time that I heard of Rife therapy. And there wasn't nearly the kind of information back then that there is now. And people who knew about it had to be a lot more clandestine about what they were doing. And there weren't any really good explanations for how it worked. So I put it in my file cabinet, because the information that I did manage to collect, although scanty, it just felt very, very important. I knew that this was really, really big. And as soon as I heard the word frequency, of course, being a working musician at the time, I just sensed that this would be pivotal in everything else I would be involved in later. So that's really what led me to Rife therapy.
Okay. All right. So to add a little bit to what Nenah's doctor said, he just assumed that you would not have the discipline to say, all right, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to drink that anymore. So he just said, "Well, we'll just give you more. We'll just give you more of the magic bullet or whatever." And I think that's what most people are kind of looking at these days. They just want, if they get sick, they want to go to a doctor and they want someone to give them a pill that's going to stop them from feeling bad. But in all actual reality, what they're taking is going to eventually make them feel worse, and it's not going to address the problem that they're having.
Exactly.
Okay.
And
Right.
Was that Jordan?
I said this came up in a previous show, and Richard asked, can we do anything without the diet being right? And I said, it's better for someone doing, detox therapy or right therapy and eating the way they are than just eating the way they are and dying and doing nothing about it. But it's crucial if someone wants to get better as fast as possible to change their diet. Do that.
I agree with you, Jordan. Diet is one of the primary changes that people need to make. And
Nenah, hold that thought. We got everything. We've got all four of us here. Okay, welcome back to Cult Reality Radio, Oracle Broadcasting Network here. We're not going to take calls until the second hour. We want to really kind of break down some things here. Nenah's going to go into a description of Rife, which is, it's always good to start with a base of Rife and how it began and what it's being used for. So Nenah, I'll hand it off to you.
okay, Rife therapy was developed in the 1930s by an American researcher and scientist named Royal Raymond Rife. And it's based on the principle that every object or living body in the universe has a resonant frequency at which it oscillates. So what Rife did was he looked at various microbes underneath his super high-powered microscope, which allowed him to view organisms in their living state. And he subjected each pathogen in a very systematic way to an electromagnetic field that delivered frequencies. We're talking 1 hertz, 2 hertz, 3 hertz, 4 hertz, etc., all the way up to millions of hertz. And we're talking about cycles per second at which the pathogen vibrates. So when he was cataloging the response of these microbes to these electromagnetic fields, he was able to determine which frequency disabled or in some cases outright shattered the pathogen. The device he used was called a Rife Ray, and that was in the 1930s, and his equipment kept being developed. And today we have many different kinds of machines that people call generically Rife machines, and I use that word very loosely. And whether the frequencies are delivered through an electromagnetic field as delivered by radiant plasma or a light bulb that lights up, the light's filled with noble gases and it's subjected to a very high voltage charge, or whether the frequencies are delivered via electrodes that you hold in your hands, and then you feel the very, very gentle, mild amount of electrical current going into your body. The principle is the same. We're disabling or shattering microbes that are involved in illness. So Rife therapy, as used today, is used for everything from cancer, gastrointestinal upset, Lyme disease, Parkinson's, MS, all kinds of neurological disorders, all kinds of infectious diseases, arthritis, you name it, you can use Rife therapy for it. And I've been investigating this for probably 20 years now or more.
Mm-hmm.
And the more I learn about life therapy and electromedicine, which is the more general and broad topic, it's really quite amazing and fascinating. The one more thing I want to mention about life therapy is that it has also been discovered that in a lot of instances, the frequencies actually help tissue heal. So it's not just a microbe-killing machine. Under under certain circumstances, if you have particular frequencies, you're also feeding energy into the body and helping healthy tissue get more energy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also thought that the frequencies help the immune cells recognize that a pathogen is actually present, so then the immune cells can do their job of scavenging microbial waste. So that's life therapy in a nutshell.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it's fascinating to me. Now, when I've heard a number of different things in the past, any number of different theories about the AIDS virus and how it was designed, that it was actually created. Like, and I've had conversations with Jordan and Jimmy, and they pretty much agree that that Lyme was created, that it was designed. And so they say something about, at this one point, somebody said that the reason why the immune system does not see some of these, the virus, or that these viruses are able to do certain things in the body, is because they have some kind of protein coating or something, or some kind of cloak,
right,
that's in there that kind of hides itself from the immune system.
That I agree with that.
Yeah, some kind of protein coating or something like that that allows it to be in a form of a stealth, in stealth, where it can't be seen by the immune system, so therefore it can proliferate and do the things that it does and mutate undetected. Jordan, thoughts on that? Jordan Masavia? Probably didn't. Yeah, I think he's still there. He might have just walked.
I'm here.
Thoughts on that? These Lyme, AIDS virus, yeah. That they are they're designed in a manner so that the immune system cannot see them.
Right.
They can move freely.
I really haven't worked with AIDS too much to see how complex it gets, or where it mutates, or the Lyme mutates almost every time that you stimulate it, I think.
And when you say stimulating it, what does that mean? Just by eating?
We're always, like, if I'm treating myself for Lyme, I'm always trying to kill quite a bit of the Lyme, and right now it's as much as possible. But if someone is new to treating themselves with Rife machines, then they'll reach a Herzenheimer type of reaction, and they'll kill a portion of the Lyme, and that surviving portion that's left seems to change frequencies. And I wanted to ask Nenah about sweep ranges. She talked about Royal Raymond Rife going 1 or even 4 hertz away from the target to find a new resonant frequency. Is that what she suggests in the audio type of range for those type of devices? And 7. I'm sorry.
Maybe we should explain to our listeners what audio range is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like you were saying, sweep. That means like a spectrum, like plus or minus certain frequencies. You have like a target frequency, and then you have -5 or something in each direction.
Yeah, and technically it's a micro step, so you don't want to sweep and hit everything in a certain range like a shotgun, but you want to more like a rifle and hit an exact frequency. It's a certain distance away from the original. But the audio spectrum would be anything under 20,000 hertz.
Okay, I think there's a really good argument for doing sweeps as well as getting the microbe directly on target. As long as the sweep, which is the hertz signal on either up or down from the so-called main frequency you're targeting, as long as the machine lingers for enough time on that frequency to really give that pathogen a good jolting.
Okay.
You don't want to just tickle it and just get off that particular frequency too quickly to really do anything. But I agree with you with the genetic engineering, not only of foods, but of pathogens, which has been used in bioweaponry for decades. I think it's really important that we have more tools at our disposal to deal with these pathogens. So sweeping or setting the machine for a range of hertz signals, say, I'm just using a hypothetical example, say if you set it to go from 715 to 748 hertz or cycles per second, and you tell it to do that for a half hour, it should be enough time to linger enough on any potentially mutated pathogen in that range.
Nina, can you hold that thought? We got 10 seconds here. I'm not hearing the bumper music. We will return with more on energy medicine and life. Okay, welcome back to Cold Reality Radio here on the Oracle Broadcasting Network. My guests, Nina Sylver, PhD, author of the Rife Therapy Handbook, and Jordan DeYoung, the Energy Medicine Man, technician, creates virtual clinics. The one that I did that gave me a kind of an idea of where my what foods were good for me, what foods were bad for me, any number of different things that have put me even more on the right track as for me to be able to get my health and thus my life on the right track. So. During the break, you were talking about the headaches, Jordan? And
migraines, a potential migraine scenario. If I was dealing with that, how would I take care of it? What would I start with, maybe?
Well, that's you actually chose a really huge topic, but we can start there. For reference, I'm looking in a copy of my Rife Handbook right now, and just to let people know more specifically what a migraine is, of course it's a pain in the side of the head. We all know that. And it can also be accompanied by disordered vision, nausea, chill, and fatigue. Now, migraines can be caused by an enormous number of things. Infectious diseases, but also allergies, drugs, chemicals, unsuitable food, a toxic liver, menstrual difficulties, also hormonal conditions, worry or even strenuous exercise, also low blood sugar. So we're talking about a huge array of possible causes that can constrict the blood vessels. So I think the first thing that needs to be done is to narrow down what's going on with a person's liver and what the toxic overload is on the system. Mm-hmm. Many people have staph and strep as chronic, lingering conditions that may be a bit subclinical. For instance, if you're harboring a lot of strep bacteria, you may not have the common strep throat, but you may still have such an overload of toxic material in your system that your liver is having a really hard time getting rid of it. So what would you, Jordan, do to determine what's going on with somebody and how to actually assess what the causes are?
So what do you do to determine that? I think there's a number of ways. You could run different frequency programs and narrow it down that way. Of course, I think people need to do micro steps on either side to see if that affects them. And we've talked before about the Zyto, which I think is near identical to the Asira, and to a lesser extent, in my opinion, the Skio, EPFX, Indigo. It's got 10 different names, and maybe dowsing or muscle testing. How do you like?
I know from just going to my kinesiologist that with just a number of different muscle testing areas, that's how he diagnosed my adrenals. And this was a very interesting topic between me and Jordan, is that probably 2 weeks or 3 weeks before I did my session with Jordan, my chiropractor, kinesiologist said, dude, your adrenals are just like through the roof. And then that was one of the first big things that Jordan pointed out, like right away through the Zyto. It was like, wow. I just wanted to point that out too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thanks. About the only issue, really. Mm-hmm. So Nina, what do you suggest that people go in your book and they run through those frequencies you suggest for liver, of course, right? Only it's about with every session, or that they always run detox frequencies when they're doing a program of strep, or?
Well, it really depends on what's going on with the person. That's why ricing is so individual. There are 202 pages in Chapter 5 of various conditions listed, and they're listed in alphabetical order, and they're also like cancer or Lyme disease, but they're also listed according to category. And if you will allow me, I'd like to read the topics just to give people an idea of how they're broken down.
Absolutely.
Arthritis in joints, bacteria, blood sugar levels, bone and skeleton, cancer, candida fungi, molds and yeasts, chemical poisoning - detoxification, dental, ears, eyes, gastrointestinal tract, which in turn is broken down into the individual parts like colon, small intestine, stomach, etc. Then all the glands, adrenals, pancreas, etc. Headache, heart, blood and circulation, injuries, insect bites, liver and gallbladder, lymphatic system, men, which has to do with all the reproductive organs, mind and emotions, muscles, nervous system and brain, parasites, protozoa and worms, regeneration and healing, respiratory tract, skin, tuberculosis, tumors, ulcers, urinary tract, viruses, and women's reproductive organs. And the reason I listed it all was just to give you an idea of how to think in terms of diagnosing. It really helps, for instance, if you have a very specific diagnosis like, oh, I have a Giardia infection, or I have Lyme disease, or I have a staph infection, or Candida albicans. But even if you don't know what specific bug is bugging you in your system, you can also look at the body parts and see, well, where is it affecting me? Because if I have severe gastrointestinal pain and diarrhea, Giardia is a really good guess, especially if the person has been exposed to contaminated water. So it really helps to have that kind of organizational protocol in front of you so you can look at it and troubleshoot and say, okay, I don't have a doctor's diagnosis, but if I have nausea and vomiting, then there is a good chance it could be A, B, C, D, or E. Or if I have a sore throat with glandular involvement, it could be X and Y. So this is a really good way for the layperson who does not have access to a doctor, or maybe doesn't have the money or doesn't want to see a doctor for any number of reasons, but who has a rice machine or any type of frequency device, to go in and say, I am going to try these frequencies. They can't hurt, and at most they can help, and I might even be healed in 24 hours, which has been known to happen. So there is a lot involved in assessing what's going on in the body. But again, going back to migraines, one thing I didn't mention before was that I would always look at the structure of the body. It's amazing how many things can go wrong when your spine is not aligned, especially C1, all the bones at the top of the head and neck.
Oh yeah, I've had my neck goes out like frequently. I'll have upper from C1 to C7. Mm-hmm. It was horrifically out this week, and I've been lifting and doing some just working out and things like that, and I noticed that's when my neck kind of goes out. But I did sleep in a hot zone. And I want to kind of address that as well, because ever since that point that I slept in this hot zone, which means that there was an electrical wire outside of the. And by the way, I can't hear my bumpers again. We got about 18 seconds to break. I slept in that hot zone, and ever since then, my neck's been going out, and I've been told that I have like strep bacteria somewhere in my neck region. Welcome back. Full Reality Radio here on the Oracle Broadcasting Network. This is our short break, so we got about 4.5 minutes here till the next commercial break. All right, yeah, they're saying that they're hearing the. I mean, I hear this bumper here at the top of the second hour, but I haven't been hearing the other ones going out. So, okay, so as I said, we got about 4 minutes now to what we can do. I guess we'll talk about lead into our next. We got a number of 10-minute segments coming up after this short one here. You were talking. You and Nina were talking about something during the break that you wanted to address.
Well, actually, Andrew, I just wanted to.
Go ahead, Nina.
You were talking about geopathic stress as a having gotten your neck out, and I think that's a really important element that people might overlook. Mm-hmm. In addition to pathogens directly, whenever you're exposed to electromagnetic fields or electrical fields or magnetic fields that are not in harmony with the body, and we're not talking about light therapy, we're talking about electrical wiring.
60 hertz.
Right, exactly. Mm-hmm. High voltage transformers, that kind of thing. It really interferes with the body's own bioelectrical system, and then it gives rise to all kinds of pathogens proliferating. And if there are these pathogens in the body, any amount of chiropractic you can do will be iffy, and it won't hold because you have these other concerns that need to be addressed.
Well, anything that can get my neck to stop really doing what it's doing would be greatly appreciated, because it just ever since that point, I had times when my C1 and C2 was out. I mean, I really just totally felt like I was disconnected from my body, My neck was out really severely the other night, and had a couple nightmares and different things like that. So something with the subluxation in the neck created a movie theater of nightmares.
I have a number of suggestions, and I'll try to make this quick because I know we have to go to a commercial break.
Yeah, we got about a minute 50 seconds. Yep.
Okay. The first thing is to rife or use your rife equipment. I'm using rife as a verb for any kind of pathogens that may have had a chance to proliferate as a result of your being exposed to these harmful electrical fields.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing is, one thing I personally have found extremely useful is to sleep grounded. There are numerous companies now. They have cloth, either polyester cotton or cotton poly blend, that is woven through with carbon and silver threads. You can just throw cloth on top of your sheet on your bed and make sure that your feet and perhaps legs too are bare so that you can contact this sheet directly. You attach an alligator clip with a wire and a grounding plug into a grounded socket. We are not talking about a plug-in device. We're not talking about electricity. We're talking about grounding yourself to the earth so that the electrons naturally and freely given by the planet can get into your system and start to balance you and reverse the harmful effects of the exposure to these electromagnetic and electric fields.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to look into that. As we go into the next break, we're talking about real life rife scenarios and ways to help migraines and things like that with Nenah Sylver, PhD, Jordan DeYoung, Cool Reality Radio, Oracle Broadcast. Hey, welcome back. Cool Reality Radio on the Oracle Broadcasting Network with my guest Nenah Sylver, PhD, Jordan DeYoung, technician, and Zyto energy medicine man. Jordan, what is your title? Where when you do what you do as a technician, or?
Oh, I'm a Pulse Technologies researcher and Zyto technician and library author. Okay,
awesome. All right.
I just had a quick point. I agree with Nenah on the grounding, and I absolutely love it. LessEMF.com is where I got my cloth. And the only modification is I ground directly into the earth, run a little insulated cord out my window and do it that way as opposed to the electrical outlet.
Awesome.
It's a good idea, and we should also mention that the original grounding was done simply by walking barefoot on the earth, on soil, on grass, on rocks, on sand, and you're getting the free electrons that the earth naturally emits, and electrons are literally food. They're the energy food.
Right. Well, the definition of an alkali is an electron bath, and I've heard this from a number of different chemists, that if you're in an alkaline state, you have an abundance of electrons in your body which are negatively charged. So when you get compromised by positively charged free radicals, those positively charged free radicals get overwhelmed by the amount of electrons. When you are in an acidic state, when your body is in a disease state, you have a deficiency of electrons, and then of course you're less likely to be able to fight off these positively charged electronic pathogens, if you will.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Nenah, do you know anything with negative or like North Pole magnetizing for food and that? People have, certain, magnetic plates that they'll put their groceries on, and they'll North Pole magnetize those. I'm not so much into scales.
Personally, I've had an iffy experience with magnets. I think you have to be really, really careful with them. Just briefly, North Pole gives a very gentle support to the system. South Pole makes things grow very quickly, which is why some farmers, they will put seeds that they're wanting to sprout next to South Pole magnets, and the seeds will sprout overnight, and then they'll plant them. I think you have to really know what you're doing because, South Pole, for instance, also makes cancers grow. And a lot of these magnet devices that are out there, they mix the north and south poles up so that you're getting the benefits of the North Pole, but say for people with cancer, you don't want to have a South Pole magnet next to you, and in that case, you'll get worse. So I'll tell you a quick story. I was using a car seat from a well-known multi-level marketing company, which I will not name on the air, but they advertise that they use a combination of North and South Pole energies. This company also sells inserts for shoes and all kinds of other things. And for the first 3 weeks, I was using this car seat at my computer. My back felt great, and then I was getting diminishing returns. Well, at the time, I had a small Chihuahua who would lie between my back and the back of the chair on the car seat. And after a couple of months, this dog developed tumors that I had to get surgically removed. And I am very certain that it was this exposure to this combination magnetized car seat which included South Pole energy that made her develop tumors. And as for me, I got very forgetful. I developed all kinds of bizarre symptoms, including I didn't want to sit down and work. And for me as a writer for whom writing is a passion, that was unthinkable. And I know now that it was just that I didn't want to sit at my computer because that magnetic car seat was on there. Once I realized what it was, I got rid of it. I returned it to the person who lent it to me. But I think you have to be really, really careful with magnets. That's just my caution. Although I do know a lot of people who have used them quite successfully to heal abscesses in their mouth and that kind of thing.
Right. Wow.
Yeah, so there you go, Shally. If you want to see how good your smart meter is, just hang a canary right there.
Yeah, the canary. It'll be dead by dawn. Unfortunately. So I had a number of these like small magnets that I purchased at a health store. Positive, negative ones. And when Jordan and I were doing the clinic, he also gave me some of these pressure points, that were generated from the test that would benefit. And I was thinking about maybe using these magnets. But man, they even got to the magnets. He was like, how do we stop the magnets from helping people? Oh yeah, we'll make them we'll make the positive side a little bit negative, and we'll make the negative side positive, and then everything will be in electronic magnetic disarray.
Yeah, we'll invert the magnets.
Well, I think the little magnets I know it ones you're talking about, they're really tiny.
Mm-hmm.
People use them for acupressure points, and I think they're fairly benign. But if you're talking about a mattress pad or anything fairly large, I would be really careful.
Okay, so you're talking about the big product magnetic.
The larger ones.
Yeah, 5,000 Gauss or something. I think I've read.
That's a lot of power there.
Yeah.
In the right configuration, it can be very helpful. But so is your pet okay now, or?
Well, she went on to live for another 5 years until I helped her get to sleep at the age of 16 and a half, which is rather old for a dog. So, I'm glad that I caught it in time.
Okay.
Well, while we're kind of on the topic of acupuncture points,
we got about 50 seconds to break as well.
Oh, okay. I'll let it go.
So if you want to just, all right. Well, yeah, we'll just go from here. So today, just to give a synopsis of what's going on here, we're talking about energy medicine. We're talking about Rife technology, frequencies that help the body that kill pathogens. Everything has a frequency. Everything has a death frequency or some frequency that will break up, kill things like Lyme disease and other pathogens in the body that proliferate disease and all in all just give you a really bad day. So on the other side, we're going to pick up where Jordan wanted to start a few 30 seconds ago, and Core Reality Radio, Oracle Broadcast. Okay, welcome back to Oracle Broadcasting here on this Sunday, February 17th. We are into the second hour of the program. We are talking about energy medicine with Nenah Sylver, PhD, author of the Rife Therapy Handbook and a holistic handbook of sauna therapies. Jordan, let's pick up from where you wanted to, the direction you wanted to go before the break.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about acupuncture points and how these can help assist the Rife therapy and the frequencies that you're using. I became very familiar with this using the Endomed, of course, and we'd use the vascular autonomic signals, which are pulse tension changes, to find these. And I can do these with any magnet without the Endomed device. And there's also like point finders that are quite common. Point pulse is one of them. They'll light up and it'll make a little beep when you get over a certain point. And to put in the frequencies in these locations, you can greatly increase the effectiveness of the frequency. And you can't use tubes or I don't think that metal is as good as conducting these currents into the body as like a TENS unit pad for the contact type devices. I just wanted to throw that out there to Nenah.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying, Jordan, actually correlates quite nicely with some of the feedback I got when I was revising my Rife handbook. I had a number of colleagues tell me, who are acupuncturists, that they actually prefer the electrode devices to the freestanding radiant plasma tube devices because they could go and target specific meridians and actually get better results. So that was very interesting to me because in the Rife community there's often a huge debate back and forth which is better or more effective, the radiant plasma tubes, which you don't hold, they just generate an electromagnetic field, or the electrodes, which deliver minute amounts of electrical current into the body. And I think a lot of that argument is based on who sells what, but it's very interesting to me to hear that practitioners who know acupuncture tell me that they get really good results when they use the electrodes and apply them to acupuncture points. So you've just confirmed that again. So it really depends what, like people say, well, what's the best Rife machine? And there's no simple answer, get this brand or get that type of machine, because it really depends on what you want to use it for, what your skills are, what your needs are, what you're comfortable with. It's a lot more complicated than, just buying a pen.
Oh, come on. You can't just say it's a P3 Pro. I mean, it's got contact and it's got the radiant plasma, which is not so much an electromagnetic field as you put it, because the electromagnetic field on it is very low. But the scalar output and photon output is really through the roof.
Uh-huh. Well, I do recommend that among a couple of other pieces of equipment, but that's very high on my list.
Yeah. You have a function generator from Pulse Technologies, don't you? That's 10 years old or something?
Yes, I do. So I really don't have a very good basis to tell people, how great it is, because I don't have a tube unit from them, and I hate having to use my laptop with it. So I'm one of those people who likes convenience, everything in one unit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I don't know if you talked to Jimmy recently, but there's a new line that's called the PFG3, and this will have an onboard computer, Linux-based, that you program with your software, but then you take it away from the PC. So it gives a lot more convenience that way.
Well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
I will talk to him and ask him about it.
And to kind of let the listeners know that with regard to Pulse Technologies, Jordan, and I'm sure you can answer this, that most of the work that they do is over in Europe.
Yeah,
because
a lot of it
that can't be done in this country because of the medical dictatorship that we live under.
Right. What do you say to that, Nenah? I mean, when people ask me what kind of device, I'm kind of like, which have proven themselves in biological testing, and there's only one that I'm aware of. I've heard BCX Ultra say that they've done thorough tests with their device, but I've not seen one.
I'm going to be very careful where I go with this question, because I'm friends with a number of different manufacturers
Sure.
who actually make good devices that people get good results from. I think as far as the real nitty-gritty, hard laboratory science, Pulse Technologies is the only company I know of that is allocating funds to do this. So that's my answer. But there are a number of different machines out there, and people gravitate towards what they feel comfortable with. And even something as simple as customer service, that might make a difference if I, as a consumer, call up different companies and there's one customer service person at a particular company that I really resonate with. That might be enough for me to say, okay, I'm going to go with this equipment. Or if the people can overnight the machine to me really quickly because they have it in stock and they have everything I need, well, I might go with that company. So,
Sure.
It really depends. But I want to put on the record that I have enormous respect for Jimmy Holman and what he is doing with his lab testing. And I have often called Jimmy to ask him technical questions that I know that nobody else will know the answer to. And he is a wealth of information, and not just kind of general, but really hard science. And we need that kind of dedication, we need that kind of knowledge, and we need him, because I don't know anybody else who's doing what he's doing. And, when you have pictures of a Petri dish with different numbers on it because they've exposed Candida albicans to certain frequencies and they want to know which frequencies stem the growth more than others, well, that's irrefutable scientific evidence. You cannot dispute it, and that's the kind of research that I really love.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, another thing, Nenah, I think that you can help everyone with is there's certain electrolyte complexes that need to be in the body and/or binding agents if the person's going to be releasing toxins that are important for them to take during session.
We've got about 50 seconds to break.
Okay.
That's a really good point, Jordan, and I addressed that in Chapter 4, all about frequency devices and Rife sessions. It talks about Herxheimer or die-off reactions and the minerals that are so often depleted. And it isn't that Rife therapy is bad and it steals your minerals. It's just that when your body is truly detoxing and dealing with a microbial pathogen mop-up, you're going to need extra magnesium, even sodium, and other minerals.
Yeah, you're going to need help to get that stuff out of there.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
That's all in the book.
Okay, we have 10 seconds to break here. Welcome back to Full Reality Radio here on the Oracle Broadcasting Network with my guest, Nenah, Sylver, PhD, Jordan DeYoung, and we're talking about Rife technology and how it's helping many with their health issues, because a lot of these health issues come from microorganisms, the overgrowth of microorganisms, candida, and of course the lovely microorganisms that get created and designed for what I believe is depopulation, and of course just to make money off of sick people. So I've gone into a lot of that other stuff before, but I truly believe that some of these things are designed to do exactly what they're doing. And like Jordan and Jimmy have said in the past, that Lyme disease is more of an epidemic and more of a problem than, of course, the controlled media is even leading on. Jordan, what direction you were talking about saunas, or is there some other?
Yeah.
Did we finish up where we were?
I think there is a use definitely for the sauna in conjunction with the Rife therapy, because Nenah listed that or mentioned that there's chemicals and there's known heavy metal frequencies that she has in her book that you could stimulate the release of, but then you need to get them out of your body. And
right.
chlorella is a real important thing,
Right.
I think, to be taking when you're on this.
Let me interrupt you quickly there. I went to my chiropractor a couple weeks ago, and for a little while now, and I still have some of the product, it's called EDTA. It's a chelator. And and he was getting this EDTA from a specific manufacturer. And just recently, the FDA came in and told them, you're not going to sell this chelator anymore. You're not going to, you're not allowed to sell this EDTA anymore. So the FDA came in and said, no, sorry. And this is a product that would, in fact, chelate chaff and all different types of heavy metals and things out of the body. So I just wanted to drop that little.
Well, we can do some of these things electronically, though.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's a good thing.
And then, I feel when I do this, and I've had the EDTA intravenous done, I think 40 times or so, I'll want to jump in my sauna and sweat that out.
Right.
And that's kind of, I think, when I was talking to Nenah about, how fancy some of the sauna companies are getting out there. But Nenah, just talk about maybe different types of saunas people are using. And I know everyone that I've talked to just loves whatever they have.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if there's a bad one.
Well, I think I have a really simple and basic approach to saunas. I guess you're referring to my book, The Holistic Handbook of Sauna Therapy, which came out in 2004, and that's also on my website. To me, when I was doing the research for that book, it was real clear to me that sweating is sweating, and you can be as fancy as you want, but the physiological mechanism of sweating is the same no matter what apparatus you happen to be in. The only bad sauna is a sauna made with materials that off-gas, that release noxious odors. And for some people, even natural, lovely saunas like those rooms made with cedar, the people can't handle the terpenes or the natural phytochemicals in the cedar because they're very environmentally sensitive. So it's not really that the cedar is so bad, it's just that some people can't tolerate those high odors. So in that case, they need to be in saunas that are made with basswood or other non-aromatic woods. But
is hemlock one of those woods, or?
I believe so. I have a chart in my book. I can go and look it up. There are several charts in here. One of them talks about different materials that saunas should be made of. I just have to find it. But here it is, construction of the sauna. So alder, basswood, hemlock, that's right, hemlock, and poplar, which is also called aspen. So they are not aromatic. I think, sauna therapy was just at the beginning stages, at least in the United States, when I started doing research for my sauna therapy book. Now, of course, they're all over, and many of them come from China. I would only buy a sauna from a Canadian or an American company because it's too iffy. I tend not to get things from China in general for a variety of reasons.
Yeah. The dog food's not working out too well.
Well, I feed my dogs raw. I would never. So, that's kind of a moot point. And as my natural dog breeder friends say, why feed your dog crap in a bag? Would you eat the same dead, dried food every day without enzymes? No wonder our pets have such short lifespans. But back to saunas, sweating is sweating is sweating. I mean, the ancients, if they lived in the desert or near a beach, they would just go and sit in sandboxes. Sand is silica, and the sun heats it up, and there was a lot of healing there on a lot of levels. Some people are making saunas with colored lights inside and music, and I guess those are nice bells and whistles if you can afford them. But, even if you just go to a sauna at the gym, it's not ideal, but the more you can sweat, the better it is to get toxins out of your system.
Well, there is one thing about the sweating is that when you sweat, not only are you sweating out the toxins, which is a crucial thing, but you're also sweating out minerals, and these minerals, alkalizing minerals as well. So you have to replace those as well. So sweating is good. They even say that people that go to the gym and do cardio, that people that work out too much are actually acidifying their body.
That's a really excellent point. I make a point of drinking water that's delivered to us. I don't drink tap water. The water has been ozonated, and the pH is naturally about 7.5. And I add liquid minerals to my water, as well as another little boost called Willard water.
Yeah, I have some of that. I was actually muscle tested badly for these mineral drops that come out of Utah, I think. It's like a pretty well-known brand, but I tested it's weird because I went into the, I took it in there. I usually try to take as many products. So like if I buy something, I want to make sure that it works with my system before I actually open it up. That way I can take it back if it doesn't. And Mark said to me, I put it in my hand, and even before he tried to push my arm down, he said, "I'm telling you right now, this is not good for you." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "You can figure." He says, "Yeah." He says, "I feel something in my feet." He said, when I'm testing you and others, I can usually feel something in my feet. And then, of course, when he went to push my arm down, I couldn't stop him. And it was this, I want to say well-known, comes in like a blue bottle, and you supposed to put like 40 drops of it per gallon, but it just didn't work for me. I'm not saying that it's bad in general, but it just didn't really work for me.
Are you talking about Willard water now?
Not the Willard water. No, I do have some of that, and I definitely want to talk to you more about that product. I bought some. It's actually, I have it up in my my vitamin cabinet here, just to get a little bit more. On the other side of the break, we'll get into some more about this. I want to talk a little bit more about the sweating. Actually, we actually have one more break after this, then the program is done for the day. But we'll try to kind of put everything together and figure out what direction to go into at this juncture. Co-Reality Radio, the Oracle Broadcasting Network. We're back in 3. Okay, welcome back to the final segment of today's program on the Oracle Broadcasting Network here, Co-Reality Radio. My guests today, Nenah Sylver, PhD, and Jordan DeYoung, talking about Rife. Jordan, pick up where you wanted to, the direction you wanted to go in.
Well, there's some do-it-yourself sauna kits out there, and what I kind of noticed with this is the heater that you need for the sauna might cost $1,000, and if someone has links to where the real prices are for these things, not the overinflated retail are, I just found that, assembling the kits were more expensive if I did it myself than if I just went through HealthMate and not got HealthMate, but got one of their lesser brands, the Sun Spirit that's got the hemlock in it. But there's also like the halogen tent type saunas people will set up that are do-it-yourself projects, and there's do-it-yourself Rife projects. This isn't for only for like people that are well-to-do or middle class or doing all right with their finances. It's for everybody.
It's unfortunate that in many cases that only the well-to-do can afford some of these devices, but I don't know, Jordan, or if you or Drew are aware that the original sauna cabinet was developed by Dr. Kellogg of the cereal company. That's right. And
Michigan, yeah.
And John Harvey Kellogg invented the electric light bath. He used the new incandescent bulbs that were invented by his friend Thomas Edison, and he had a wooden box that people would sit in, and there were lights symmetrically placed on three sides of this bath, and people would sit in it with their heads sticking out, and that was the first sauna.
I could definitely see that being better than using fluorescent bulbs.
Oh, well, yeah, fluorescent bulbs are a whole danger unto themselves.
Can you use the bulbs that simulate real sunlight? I know that they have those. I have a few where I live here of bulbs that that simulate real light instead of this garbage yellow stuff.
Well, see, what you want to have is the best heating source in general is far infrared, which is a very specific wavelength on the electromagnetic spectrum. And then you would break it down even more to, I think, 9.35 nanometers to about 11 nanometers. And these are the wavelengths that have been measured as coming out of the hands of very accomplished healers. It's also the wavelengths that are responsible for hatching eggs and stimulating hundreds of life processes. So really good sauna manufacturers will use heating sources that very specifically target those particular wavelengths. And you won't feel heat in the air, but you will feel heat in your body because it doesn't heat the air. It heats solid objects. One sauna company that I really like, I met the people when I was living in New York State. It's Saunex, SAUNEX, and the website is saunex.com. They have developed a sauna cabinet, so your head sticks out. You're not rebreathing the fumes from your sweaty body, which makes a lot of sense. And their heaters are specially designed so that the amount of negative EMF is practically zero, and you can test it with a meter.
Great. We do have a Richard here, our favorite caller, or my favorite caller. We'll go ahead and take a call from Richard. Hey, Richard.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you doing today, sir? What's up?
Excellent. I just wanted to bring to the attention of everybody listening. This is kind of somewhat the allopathic model, or allopathic model. You're treating symptoms, and these are good approaches. They're natural approaches. But really, what's the cause? That's what we always have to look at. And Reif was under the same impression that he was treating. He wasn't actually curing in a way, because he was talking to the intermediary, the germs and the molds and the funguses that had developed because of bad input, and that's what I always like to bring to the attention. You're doing something in your general, eating foods that are wrong, or not exercising, or something that is causing the problem in the first place.
We talked about all that.
Deal with that issue. I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just emphasizing the fact that you've got to deal with that issue. And look at it from an allopathic or allopathic.
Yeah, the inner terrain gets acidic, and then there's things. I mean, you can have these pathogens in your body, but if you're in good health and you're eating the right way, I think this is with Lyme in a lot of cases. I think Jordan mentioned in the past that you can you're not going to possibly get some of the symptoms that other people are getting. With Lyme and different other things, but the inner terrain is key as far as not giving these pathogens the right kind of environment to thrive in.
I agree with you, and Richard, I don't know if you have my book, but in chapter 2, where I talk about the history of Reif and his inventions, I quote Reif as having said that if you change the terrain, the microbes will not proliferate. So Reif himself was very aware that you needed to deal with the cause of diseases. The reason he was in an allopathic medical model was because that was the time in which he lived, and he needed to do very stringent testing with respected doctors in his field so he could test out his equipment.
Yeah.
But he cultured these microbes, and he proved that they were pleomorphic, which means that they could change the form into either less harmful or more harmful depending on the terrain in which they grew. He used a medium that was developed by a doctor colleague friend of his. So he was very, very aware that the terrain is all important.
And so, we're getting down to about 2 minutes left in the program. Richard, thanks for your call today, buddy. You have anything?
Yeah, that was it. It's always been the controversy between Beauchamp and Pasteur, and Pasteur in his deathbed said Beauchamp was right. It's the terrain, and we just have to respect that perspective. Yeah, great show. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
And I would just like to mention that, we are constantly bombarded by so many insults to our physical, mental, and emotional bodies and spiritual bodies that, it can sometimes be very hard to do everything right.
Yeah.
And the microbes themselves emit so many toxins that sometimes the body will respond more harmfully to the toxins that the microbes secrete than the microbes themselves. So that's a really good argument for cleaning up, and it's also a good argument for using life therapy because you need to reduce the pathogenic burden on the body so you can start to heal.
I think anybody can benefit in a way by just doing some form of a cleanse. And we're down to the last minute here, so I wanted to thank Nenah. Thank you for being on today. I'm going to be going through some more of your information in your books to learn more, and be working with Jordan. So I hope to be able to get you on a platform again that has a more flow to it. And I do definitely look forward to speaking with you again, and hopefully,
Well, I got a little closing thought that I've known people with Lyme who they get on the right diet for them, whenever they find out that is, and it's been different ones, and with sauna therapy has totally reversed all their symptoms. And it's not as difficult as sometimes the writing piece might be.